Welcome in, guys. Thank you for joining me. We have some NFL breaking news that happened earlier this morning. Our second quarterback in the carousel market in the NFL has fallen. Carson Wentz is officially a Colt. It's not really surprising. This has been leading to either the Colts or Bears for the last, 2 weeks, ever since before the Super Bowl. But we finally have a deal done in place. The Eagles are getting back a 2021 third round pick and a 2022 second round pick that can be turned into a first round pick based on 75% playing time or 70% playing time and a playoff appearance. So it seems that Philly didn't get what they wanted at the end. The rumor was they wanted two number ones and a three, which was always kind of a pipe dream, just considering, last year of Carson Wentz and his contract that he has. Let's talk about it from both sides. Let's jump into the Colts first because they hopefully land their franchise quarterback. I mean, he's going to be under contract for 4 years. They can get out of it after two if it doesn't work out. But from a Colts point of view, I guess you have to be kind of excited. I mean, you're looking at your team; it's very well, built. We've been going ever since Andrew Luck retired. We went through Brissett. We went through Rivers last year, who played pretty well, but then obviously retired. So Carson Wentz is 28. He'll be 29. So you can have him here if it pans out for the long term. Just looking at your options, before Carson Wentz, there wasn't many. There was Sam Darnold's available, Marcus Mariota maybe. Other than that, for agencies, pretty slim pickings. You had Fitzpatrick, Cam Newton, Andy Dalton. Those aren't guys you feel relatively excited with or in hope to win a Super Bowl, which is the Colts' goal right now. Carson Wentz makes sense to the Colts specifically because of Frank Reich. Everyone knows that he was Carson Wentz's offensive coordinator in Philly his first 2 seasons, and obviously him and Carson Wentz have a very good relationship, and that's what Carson Wentz needs right now. Last year he was broken, his confidence was shot, a lot of turnovers, not a pretty year. There was a lot going on in Philly between ownership, management, Peterson, the head coach. It was more than just Carson. Carson is responsible and he is part of that, unfortunately. But it's good for him just to get out of Philly, get out of that mess, start fresh, and hopefully him and Frank Reich and the Colts. I do think it's going to work. We'll get to that point now. I think getting out of Philly is the number one thing for Carson Wentz right now. He just wanted out of that organization. He's talked about it a little bit behind the scenes, but it was not pretty last year. It wasn't just his play on the field, like I've alluded to. There was other factors going on behind the scenes, and I think this is going to be a good opportunity for Wentz and the Colts. I mean, it's pretty rare that the Eagles traded up. The Eagles traded up. They gave so many picks to the Cleveland Browns to make Carson Wentz their guy. He was an MVP candidate in the second year, and then it kind of all went downhill from there. Last year was up and down, but he led an injury riddled Eagles team to the playoffs, so it's pretty impressive considering his cast. And this past year obviously did not go to plan at all. Jalen Hurts, honestly, when he came in, was he great? No, there were some games he played really well in, but honestly, I thought the Eagles, just as a team, were more in unison and more like Jalen Hurts was their guy. Like Carson Wentz, I think, also kind of lost the locker room for Philly. So if he did return this year, it would have been, on him to win over the locker room again. So he's not going to have that issue right now. Obviously, he's going to have to, have his Colts teams believe in him, Colts teammates believe in him, but I don't think that will be a problem, especially because Frank Reich, like I've said, and just from the Eagles' point of view, like I've been talking about from the Colts side and the Carson side, it didn't work out. You paid this guy a huge contract, and for whatever reason, there's a multitude of reasons, but just none of them seemed good to bring him back. And the only reason why he would have was because of the contract. And in years past, I think he would have been stuck as an Eagle, but I think for the long term, I think this is what's best. I do think you got back decently good value because at the end of the day, it seemed like it was either Indy or the Bears, and the Bears allegedly pulled out or didn't make an offer. I'm not sure if that's true. That just could be them, saving grace and acting like, yeah, we checked in, but we didn't lose our guy. But at the end of the day, there wasn't that many suitors. But the contract that big and coming off a performance like Carson Wentz did this past year, didn't expect it to be. But you got some added draft capital to add to your team, rebuild because the Eagles, as many of you guys know, if you're Eagles fans watching this, they're second worst in cap space right now in the NFL entering free agency. It's them and the Saints. I believe they're 70 million or 65 below the cap. So there's going to be major changes here in Philly. You know, this Super Bowl squad is already dismantled, but the rest of it's about to be completely gone. Derek Barnett's probably going to be released, but not just that's just a sidetrack. The Eagles. The point is, the Eagles are obviously completely rebuilding. Carson Wentz wasn't their guy. I didn't have any confidence in him. Um, you know, kind of getting back to his old way in Philly. It's possible to do it elsewhere, but I just didn't see it happening with Philly's current roster. You still have Howie Roseman, that aspect if he would have stayed. So, and you know what? We'll see what they do in the draft. That'll take us. What do the Eagles do now at pick 6? Do they stick with Jalen Hurts? Do they like what they've seen from the final 6 games or final 4 games he started? Maybe. He played really well in Arizona. He beat the Saints, in his first ever start, which is impressive. He didn't play that bad. I mean, he played pretty well against Dallas, but obviously they didn't win. But it's not all about wins and losses when you first come in. But it's interesting because, I think it was Doug Peterson who kind of drafted him in round 2, which kind of told you everything you needed to know about what was a little bit of what was going on behind the scenes. I don't think the Eagles had a lot of faith in Carson Wentz leading into last year, and then it went even worse than anticipated. So if Doug Peterson was the guy who drafted Jalen Hurts, he's no longer there. So, was it Howie Roseman or was it Peterson? That's what the Eagles are going to have to decide. At pick 6, if Justin Fields or Trey Lance fall to you, are you able to pass up on them? I'm not sure. I mean, that's for the Eagles to decide. It's tough for me to pass up on, especially if it's Justin Fields. I wouldn't. If it's Trey Lance, I might because of the situation the Eagles are currently in. It's like I said with the cap space, they're going to be rebuilding. So maybe it is best for them either to trade down or take a best player available. Or you know what, you can try to help Jalen Hurts this year if they do deem he's their guy. If Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, or I mean even Kyle Pitts. I mean he's a tight end, but he's like an offensive weapon. I think he would be great for any offense. You know, let just completely rebuild, restart, and I do think it's good for both sides. So just moving on from both these teams, like I've alluded to in the beginning of the video, this is now the second domino to fall in the QB market. So what's next for the teams who didn't get either Stafford or Carson Wentz? I said Sam Darnold, I think, is the next guy. Maybe Marcus Mariota, but we still don't know what the Jets are going to do for sure. But it seems like Schefter and a lot of people are leaking. Yeah, the Jets could keep Darnold, but it's kind of looking likely, each and every day that passes on that he won't be a Jet in 2021. So does a team because a lot of these teams, if you look at just in draft position, aren't in good positions to get a quarterback. Like we have Washington, they need a quarterback. They're picking 19th. We have Chicago picking 20th. What are they going to do? Are they going to miss out on everybody? Are they going to sign Fitzpatrick or a veteran? I think their last option would be to run it back with Trubisky for one more year, which I don't think they want to do. We have the Steelers situation with the Steelers and Big Ben have to come to an agreement, or maybe the Steelers just feel like, okay, Ben, you're not making, I think it's 41 million in 2021. That's not, we can't do that with our, cap situation and players that we need to re-sign. So maybe Big Ben isn't even a Steeler in next year. That's still TBD, but it's another team that, could possibly need a quarterback. The Saints, I mean, I think Jameis Winston will re-sign, but it's not a foregone conclusion. The Saints are, like I said about the Eagles, Saints are even worse off in the cap situation entering free agency. So they're going to have to figure things out, work around the cap and get under a certain number. So if Jameis Winston has a market, which could be the case, honestly, he might take more money to play elsewhere. That's just the situation we're in. It's super interesting, but I'll leave it there. Comment below, like and subscribe if you made it this far in the video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.